We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about irresponsible, one-sided news stories
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has
extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Oh, I'm tripping. I had I had the volume off. My bad. All good, all good. You know what time it is. You know what rhyme it is. I'm your gracious host, A6. We're live in direct, live in effect. It is cold out here on this East Coast Sunday night. Uh, Temperature took a nosedive, man. It took a big nosedive. For those of you who are on the East Coast, you know for a fact that it is cold out here and it's going to get worse. This is nothing. So I hope your heat in your car, your truck, whatever, in your house, everything's working properly. I hope you bundled up and got hats and all that stuff on, scarves, because it is chilly outside. But you know, doing the best to try to stay warm. Speaking of which, man, I want to go ahead and send a shout out to everybody who took W's this week. I love to hear about it. Everybody who took W's. So, you know, we're gonna go ahead and give them a salute. 100%. So look, man, y'all already know what the title says, man. Usually I come in here and I tell you about some, news or some current events, but man, we got a special guest in here. We got one of the most fire MCs I've ever met in my life, man. I've done some shows with this dude. I've ciphered with this guy. This guy's official. Y'all need to show some respect and pay homage because this dude is a badass lyrically. Some of his work that my more favorite or memorable parts of his work were in the Q and 5 days in the early days of the early 2000s. That's back when he was like really heavy into the kind of like the cypher scene, the backpacking type scene. That was my thing, yo. So I listened to a lot of that stuff. Without further ado, I got my man in the green room, Substantial. What up, man?
Peace. What's going on, family? How you feeling?
What it is, Chant, yo, let me say, yo, we have not aged very much, so I would definitely say we got a little bit of gray, but young we stay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I met Substantial the first time I met him. I think was man, what year was that? 2008, I think.
Yeah. That was about it was about a year after I moved back to Maryland. Yep.
Yeah. We DMV heads out here, man.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a music video called My Favorite Things, and it was it played on, you guys probably seen it on MTV quite a few times. It had a long run. The joint was fire, man.
Thank you.
So many different instruments were used to make that track, and the thing about it is you don't really hear that anymore with the music.
Right. No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. So, man, let's ask some questions, dude. What got you started on this path, bro? You've been MCing probably since the 80s, I believe, right?
Bro, yeah, I wrote my first rhymes. Yeah, it was like late 80s when I first wrote a rhyme. I was about 10. And then I think it was maybe my freshman year of high school when I started taking it serious. And by the summer after my freshman year of high school is when I basically recorded my first demo. And it was just wouldn't say fast track per se, but things definitely started moving a bit quicker than I expected. I recorded my demo early that summer, and by the end of that summer, like I started having my first conversations with people affiliated with major labels. So like it's been a crazy journey,
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. So when you first started rapping, you were still here in DMV, or had you already gone to New York? Like, how did that whole going to New York thing work out?
No, I was still here. I was living in PG County, Maryland. That's where I was born and raised. I was about to be like on the playground is where I spent most of my day.
Word.
But yeah, PG County, man. I was at that time I was living in Landover first, and then I moved to Suitland. I went to Suitland High School. I was in their visual and performing arts program. And so, I was, just doing what I could. I was heavily influenced by New York. So I think that's what ultimately led me to applying to colleges in different places, but mainly in NY. And then I just moved there. I moved to Brooklyn. Was September of 97 or August of 97, something like that.
Word. Yeah. And while you were there, did you ever do end of the week? Because do. There was a dude named Flex Matthews, and I'm telling you, I can't remember. Yeah, Flex Matthews. I battled him a couple of times. Dude's a badass.
Yeah.
But,
shout out to Flex.
Shout out to Flex Matthews, man. Another DMV legend out here.
The handsome grandson.
Handsome grandson, right? So he was like, yo, A6. This was around probably, I want to say 2009 2010 when I was like really out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Yo, A6 man, I think you should do end of the week. I know for a fact you can take it. You can go slow, fast, because they put you to the test.
Yep.
When you get on that stage, if you can't rap, you gonna know because they're gonna tell you suck, and you gonna go home with your head between your legs or tail between your legs or whatever." So he was like, "Yo, you could do fast and slow, man. You could even do like topics and stuff like that. Yo, I think it would be a breeze for you."
Yeah.
And I think I can't remember what happened. I was supposed to go up there one weekend, but for some reason I didn't make it. But he was like, "Yeah, man, you know, you should really get in there." So did you ever do end of the week?
Yeah, 100%, man. Shout out to all of the homies. Rest in peace to Vice Versus. Shout out to my man Zoo. And yeah, man, just the whole team, man. Bro, like everybody, yo, like those dudes, man, like the time they put in turning what they built into a global brand, dude, like, you know, it's just super impressive. I was in Uganda last year, about almost a year ago. I was in Uganda in December, and I was building with, like, you know, end of the week battle champion from Uganda. You know what I mean? Like, just knowing what they built it from in NY first, and then how it spread globally. It's been super dope. But that experience was crazy, man. It definitely kept you sharp because it was just a different spin on battling. It made it less about disrespecting the person across from you and really just about your skill set. You know what I mean? Like, and being a well-rounded MC, not just being a one-trick pony. You know what I mean? Because some dudes freestyle really well, but you know what I mean? But they can't write a dope verse top to bottom to save their life. And then certain people, they lock in with a certain rhythm, basic, you know, maybe a basic straightforward boom bap beat, but then you might get a bounce beat, you know what I mean? Like something where you got to double time it or whatever, or maybe you get a 3/4 time signature instead of a 4/4, you know? So, and then the cipher round and stuff, like being up there with a couple other MCs trading bars, picking up off their joint, like really having the freestyle, you know, grab bag, all that. This is dope.
Yeah. It's like, think of it as for those of you who aren't aware, when it comes to MCing, think of it like the Danger Room. You know what I'm saying? Where you get up there, like how the X-Men go in the Danger Room, and it really is a test of their skills. Like, yo, you might have Cyclops that can knock he can hit a button from across the room with his eye beams, but you know, now he got to fight a robot with his bare hands because he's immune to his eye beams. So now he's got to have a way to take the robot. Now, you know, it's all kinds of cool stuff like that. So, end of the week was fire to watch, man. I remember when Iron Solomon.
Salute.
Yeah, Iron Solomon. Yo, shout out to Iron Solomon, man. Yeah, I remember when Iron Solomon went up against was it Immortal Technique? I think it was.
Oh yeah, I was there for it. I was I was in the crowd. I remember. Yeah,
I heard it on because back in the day, man, all we had was Napster and we had MCBattles.com, and there was a few other little message boards where they would trade hip hop videos, and then most of them came from New York because let's be honest, New York was like the mecca of hip hop at the time. You know, all the fresh stuff came out of NY. So
it still is the mecca. You know what I mean? Like it's the foundation, right? Like yeah. I mean, you know, it's global now, of course, right? It may not be the scene that dominates the way it once did, right? But it's still. If you call yourself a MC and love love what hip hop was built on, everyone makes the pilgrimage to Mecca at some point, right? Like we all go there, pay homage and stuff, because without NY, without the Bronx, we ain't here, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man, that was you know what I'm saying? At the time, the battles, the only ones we got to really see were the ones that were put online because of course not all of us could go there for whatever reason. So, dude, I watched the dude Tone Deaf.
Hey, that's my bro.
You know, shout out to Tone Deaf, man. I actually spoke to him a few times on instant message. What was it? AIM, I think it was.
Yeah,
he would do, yo. Tone Deaf was like the most down to earth dude, other than you and a couple other cats, because like he would talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? But a real cool cat though. But I remember him and PH, rest in peace, PH. Dude was fire, bro. Yeah, yes sir. I got to meet PH when I was at Grizzlemania. Back in the day, but those battles that they did was just always interesting. Did you ever get like in any of the tournaments to battle? Because I don't ever think I saw your battles on any of the websites.
Yeah, I mean, I battled a bunch, but a lot of the stuff I was competing in, like yeah, man, if they was recording back then, like it wasn't going straight to digital or streaming online, fam. Like it was an actual cassette in the camera. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because I mean, I got up to NY, like I said, in '97. Probably started getting into battles up there, like maybe like '98. Because first it was open mics, and then I figured out where to go. Yeah. Then I started getting into battles and stuff. You know, at New Eurekan. Or like other venues up there, and yeah, man, I was in End of the Week a couple times, competed there, never won it, but would make it into like the top 5 or whatever, a few different times, you know, and yeah, man, it was just, again, none of the ones that I know of was like ever popped up online like that, but I mean, part of what helped me get signed eventually was the reputation I made as a battle MC. I had won some battle they had in Jersey that Fat Beats had sponsored or whatever.
Oh snap! Okay.
And yeah, man, and I think Supernatural was featured there that night. So, yo, that was wild because they told me originally they were gonna have the person who won like do something with Supernat.
Yo, that's dope, yo.
So imagine winning it and then someone come up to you was like, yeah, you know, they was we were originally gonna have you like trade verses with Supernat like after you won and stuff, but he was like, yo, he good. And then I met him right after, and he was like, oh man, you killed it, scared of you, just joking. But like I was like, nah, bro, like nah, I'm good. I'm good. I have nothing else to prove tonight, sir. I'm good. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Supernat is
legend, man.
Supernat, dude is a monster, man. For those of you who aren't aware who Supernat is, dude was like the freestyle guy. Like this dude,
the freestyle guy.
Doesn't he hold the Guinness World Record for the longest freestyle? He like freestyle for 24 hours straight or something crazy.
I heard about that, but I'm like I can't confirm or deny. You know what I mean? But I've heard that. Yeah.
I remember I flew out to Florida. No, we drove to Florida, right? It took like I think to get down there, it took about 13 hours. And I specifically remember I heard on the radio he had started, and then when we got there, like we went to sleep and everything, so we got there late, and then the next morning it was like your Supernat just finished the freestyle. I was like, yo, he still was freestyling. That dude, he was a monster. So shout out to Supernat. But that would have really been something if y'all locked horns, because that would have been interesting.
Yeah, man. Listen. It was one of those things that, like, you know, this was back when battling. I mean, I love where it's elevated to, like what it's become. It's funny. One of the things, and before I say this, I'm not out here claiming that I started this particular thing. I'm just saying that one of the things that I used to do in battles, because I've always had this reputation for like my voice, like people in particular, like always had something to say about my voice. And so, and a lot of MCs didn't always have a great voice. So what I would do in battles sometimes is, I tell them to cut the beat. Like if I had the option to go to the beat or rock without it, in the 90s, I was doing this, like, yo, cut the beat. Right. And then I would just go, because sometimes folks would be freestyling and then other times they would kick writtens. And if I was going against somebody and I knew they was kicking writtens, I was like, oh, we could do that too. And I'd make them cut the beat. And man, shout out to my man Packer Film. That's the homie, but we've competed against each other a few times. And so but I remember like that particular night, that was something I did, and I ain't always, you know, I didn't always use the beat as a crutch. I could go either way, but I knew if I'm going against somebody who don't have the same voice as me, like that, you know what I mean? Like had a certain presence, easy. That just, man, listen, easy way to eat them real quick. Just cut the beat, son. Cut the beat. You know what I'm saying?
Strategist, yes, sir. And strategy, man, when you battle the strategy, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
All the time, man. You know, what I would always do back in the day, Stan, and you probably seen a bunch of MCs do this, but one of the main rules people knew not to do during a battle, you never bring your girl with you. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Dude,
yeah.
Dudes who bring their girl to the battle, I'm like, I already beat you. Thinking in my head, I already got you beat because I'm just going to get on your girl the whole time. Everybody going to be looking at you like, yo, what you going to say about that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I definitely have had homies experience that. Yeah,
yo, I had to sleep on a couch.
Yeah, man. It's definitely that should be in a rule book for sure.
Yeah, if there's a rule book, it would definitely be in there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So, all right. So you did the battle scene. Okay. So then I knew the whole time you were making music, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So at what point did you transition? Like, all right, look, I got my name because a lot of times, because we had I Am Many on here too back in the day. Shout out to I Am Many. He's probably watching. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I Am Many was on here. He said, "Yo, we didn't have like we didn't get paid really to battle unless you like actually won the tournament. You might get like $200 or something like that."
Right.
But most of the MCs really only battled to get their name out there. Like the ciphers, they would jump in, and the battles they would do was only to get their name buzzing in the street. So when they put out a demo, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's that dude right there, Stan. Yo, he was ripping it over at such and such, man. Let me go ahead and grab this joint." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
shout out to I Am Many. That
that's
dude
my
was
man.
like he was like my arch nemesis for a brief period of time.
Yo, that's so dope, yo. That's so dope. Like, but it's dope because like, yo, when you are literally in the scene like that, you definitely have to have them opposites. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what point did you say, all right, look, I got my name out there with the battles. I'm gonna start focusing on music and start pumping the music out now. And how'd that pan out for you?
Yeah, I got my deal with Hideout Productions. Rest in peace to Nujabes. I got my deal with Nujabes and Hideout back in '99. And one of the things, like, you know, with battling, most battle rappers had a reputation. A lot of battle rappers had a reputation of not being good songwriters, right, or not being able to produce really good albums. And so I was very aware of that even in the late 90s. Yeah. And so I knew that was not a problem I wanted to have. And you know, it's like anything. I think when you do something long enough, you realize that when you do particular things, you're exercising certain muscles. And so with battling, you know, you focus so much on what you're potentially going to say about the next person, where a lot of great songwriting takes you looking within, you know what I mean? Kind of like, you know, or taking the world around you, processing all of that, then looking within to find your truth and all of that. Right. And then try to find something that maybe a lot of different people can relate to, or maybe it's just like deeply personal. But that was, you know what I mean? That was a different form of writing. And that tapped more into the, like, my experience writing poetry and things like that. And then other techniques, you know? And so, yeah, man, I just really tried to hone a different skill. So I kind of fell back from battling so I could develop that further, because I knew I was serious about having a real career as a songwriter, MC, and performer. So yeah, man, late 90s is when I made that pivot, you know what I mean? Haven't looked back since.
Yeah. I remember you told me that story, man. And you know, a lot of rappers try to do both, but yo, it's real hard to focus on battling and then focus on making music as well. Well, it's probably
shout out to PH.
Now.
Shout out to PH, because he's definitely one of the brothers who I think did both fairly well, man. You know, he he's done some classic work. You know what I mean? In the midst of being an amazing battle MC, dropping that classic record, Orange Moon over Brooklyn, and many other projects. But yeah, I think it's, you know, it's few and far between who really kind of walk that line really well. Yeah.
Tone Deaf was one of them too.
100% Tone Deaf for sure. But even him, the more, like, once he started dropping albums and really focused on that side, you know, like, battling took a back seat for him, you know?
100%. Yeah, you gotta really just hone in, man. Like you said, you work that muscle. You know, you want that muscle to stay flexed. All right, so you mentioned you were signed to Nujabes. How did Nujabes act? Because keep in mind, Nujabes was all the way in Japan. Was he in New York?
No. Nujabes found. So the way Nujabes discovered me was basically because he's in Tokyo, right? Tokyo, Japan. And I was going to Pratt Institute. Pratt Institute is a world-renowned art school in Brooklyn, New York. That I went there for a few years before I dropped out when I got my record deal. And basically there was a brother named my homie Tomo was from Japan. We would hang out and stuff, you know. And shout out to my man Bisco Smith, who used to go by DJ Biscuit back then. He basically made a mixtape. I hopped on the mixtape, would hang out with Tomo. We would rhyme, do stuff together. And Tomo was heading back to Japan for the summer. We exchanged numbers. When he gets to Japan, he's working at Nujabes's record store, his first record store, Guinness Records. And while he was there, Nujabes asked him, he was like, man, you know of any dope rappers in New York? Which is a crazy question to ask anybody.
Yeah, like...
it's New York. So, but yeah, he was like, yo, you should check out my man Stan, which was hilarious in itself because, you know, I was from Maryland, you know what I mean? But I happened to live in New York. And so, man, he played that same mixtape that Bisco had made. And, yo, he heard me on there. I think I was rapping on a Medina Green beat. Shout out to them.
Word.
It was a joint they had with Mos Def because, you know, one of the brothers from Medina Green, him and Mos are brothers. So, yeah, man, I was rapping on that joint. Dude heard it. Nujabes heard it, loved it, and was like, man, you got this dude contact. And again, we had just exchanged numbers before he went back. So he gave him my number. And then he just cold called me, bro. Like I didn't, it's important that like I remind people when I tell this story, I'm like, fam, this is still the 90s. Right. No one knew who Nujabes was. This is pre Samurai Champloo and everything else and all the classic records. So I didn't know who it was. I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody
Champloo was dope, by the way. Y'all need to get that.
Yeah, if you in the anime and you love hip hop, it's the quintessential fusion of both. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, but yeah, man. So he called. The rest is kind of history, you know.
True. Okay, yeah, no doubt. So at that time, like did you notice like similarities between like Nujabes and Jay Dilla? Or was it like the beats and style still separate or?
Nah. I mean, quite frankly, like you know, I think a lot of what they have in common has more to do with like their birthday, right? They were both born on the same day, same year, in the same month. And so they naturally get that in comparison, and then they both passed away young, you know what I mean? And so, but quite frankly, like, I mean, of course, Dilla sampled a lot of jazz. That wasn't the only thing he sampled. And Nujabes also would sample a lot of jazz. But Nujabes sometimes would sample stuff that was maybe a bit more like what's the word? Melancholy, so to speak. Like stuff that sometimes felt like sad but beautiful, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he kind of went, like in terms of what he was sampling, kind of went in different places that we didn't hear Dilla go. However, I don't, like when I heard his production when he first sent it to me, like that, I didn't get the Dilla vibes and stuff like that. I do know that he was a fan of Dilla's work. I don't know if Dilla ever knew who he was, but I did know that, you know, he was well aware of Dilla. I mean, who wasn't for the most part, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, you know, but I wouldn't go as far as to say there were similarities outside of the fact that it was clear that both of those brothers had amazing taste in music. Yeah. And they were both like super students of not just the genre they worked in, but in of music in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Good similarities. And you know, I don't want to stay on this topic, which I just want to get this out there real quick.
Sure.
People basically say that Nujabes basically, well, some people are saying Nujabes came up with the whole lo-fi style. And then others are saying Jay Dilla was doing it way before Nujabes actually was known or even involved with the scene like that. So who would you say, if you had to decide, or how would you basically say that style was created? Who would you say the originator is?
I mean, it's really like, so it's important to understand, I think, when we talk about this, that it's not like either one of them sat down and was like, I deem this lo-fi. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It like in a lot of situations, someone else who wasn't them, you know what I mean, heard what they were doing and decided that this thing was this, or this is that. And so it wasn't something that I believe that they sat, I mean, there was no conversation ever in all the conversations I had with Nujabes where he was like, yeah, this lo-fi sound I'm making. That's something that came later. You know what I mean? It's just like with me and jazz hop, right? Or jazz rap now, what they call it. Like me, Marcus D, and a bunch of other people who was making this sound, we didn't sit around and was just like, yeah, son, we gonna make this jazz hop stuff. We were just sampling jazz. You know what I mean?
Y'all wanted something that sounded fresh.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you know what? Let me go do this because ain't nobody really doing this like that. And then boom, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And we, a lot of people, and it wasn't so much that folks weren't doing it at all. It was more so that we grew up on a particular sound. We were influenced by that sound. And we were like, how can we take that, make it our own, evolve it some more? And so I say all that to say, I don't necessarily look at either one of them as founding it in the traditional sense, as in, yo, I made this thing, I call it this, now here y'all go. I think that what basically happened, there's one of the big influences in lo-fi, is that like a great kind of jumping off point is the anime Samurai Champloo. When you look at the aesthetic that is built around lo-fi, not just what the music sounds like, but how people even market it, how they what they post with their music. Like, it's undeniable that like before that anime, right? Like, you didn't see people posting their beats with clips from anime or like kind of infusing those two things together, like hip hop and anime. It's something that was fairly new around the time we saw that anime. And then, but when you listen to it, like that slowed down sound, in terms of what they're choosing to sample, the type of jazz that they're choosing to sample and stuff like that. Clearly, Nujabes has some influence on that. But when you listen to the drums, the bass, how the stuff moves, like clearly on that side of things, on the percussion side of things, you can hear Dilla's influence. You can hear the Dilla time style of production. So that's why I think it's important to give both brothers their flowers in terms of what they were doing. And Dilla obviously was sampling jazz. I mean, you look at Run by Far Side and so many other dope joints, like deep cuts on like early Busta records and all of that. You know what I mean? So and even, of course, Tribe. So yeah, I mean, long story short, I think it's impossible to separate the two when we're talking about lo-fi. They both had influence on it, Yeah,
I have to agree with that, man, because and it's crazy because people want to put labels like, yo, we created this, we created that, but yo, truth be told, even the cats that are making music that you haven't necessarily heard, they're sampling their music and drawing that inspiration from something else.
Yeah,
so you can't really say they started it because they got the influence from somewhere. So
100%,
it's a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? But I do see why people are saying, well, we did this and we did that. People are basically trying to take ownership, as with everything. So what can I say, man?
And I mean, and it's clear, look, and I get it. And let's be real about it too. Like, black folks, we are extremely defensive about cultures that we had a hand in creating, as we should be. I will say one of the things we got to do better with, though, is that we oftentimes, like, we create a thing and then we kind of move in a different direction. Yeah. And we create things but don't always develop the science or the formal science behind it to like structure it in a way for it to be taught. We just create dope things, and then when that becomes we create other dope things.
Yo, that's facts right there.
And so because we don't develop the science, somebody else from outside of the culture comes along who loves the culture, and because they may be from a more formal background, then they come into play. And they might develop business models around it. They'll build schools around it, all of these different things. I ain't saying we never do that, but historically, we don't always do that. And but we definitely get mad when we see other folks do that. And so we got to be conscious of the fact that, like, yo, if we're serious about preserving the history and protecting these things, then yo, this whole like we made this and now it's old. Yeah, nah, we ain't doing that no more. Blah blah blah. We move on. So when somebody else pick it up, stop being mad, fam. You know what I'm saying? So me, I've made my whole career off of the fact that I didn't abandon the foundation that helped me get to where I was. So I take that sound and I continue to develop it, and I continue to honor the folks that came before, and I don't get caught up in this. I don't know if we can curse or not, but I don't.
Knock yourself out, man.
Yeah, but I don't get caught up in this whole what's relevant bullshit anymore or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, dude, this is a part of our foundation. I'm a forever, hold on to a piece of that while still trying to find a way to take it forward. So I think that as lo-fi, because nobody really cared in the beginning, but when it became a viable thing and people start making whole careers around it, labels start being built around it, all of a sudden now we care. And it's just like, yo, like that ain't how it worked, fam. That ain't how it worked. Like when me and the homies who were part of the foundation of this being built, when we realized what was happening, we saw it was like, yo, this is an opportunity for us, to just keep doing what we've been doing. Because you say you like this thing, hey man, we helped lay foundation for this, here we are. And when we talk about Dilla, it's important that if we're gonna talk about Dilla, like then you gotta talk about Pete Rock, right? Yep. And if you're gonna talk about Pete Rock, you gotta talk about Marley Marl. So for folks who on that shit, like, yo, miss me with all that, fam. Cause it's just like you talking about folks not giving a person credit, but then you ain't even crediting the people who helped that man get to where he was. You feel me? And how you talk about Dilla without talking about Q-Tip. Q-Tip, the reason why you know who Dilla is, fam.
Facts,
Stop
yo.
it. Stop
yo,
it.
Facts.
Stop that shit, man. Yo,
100%.
Read a book. Learn about the culture you claim you rep. You know what I mean? So, man.
Hey, man. Yeah, I agree with all that, man. So listen, that is facts. All right, Stan, yo, let's talk about some of your music though, bro, because we just talked about early 2000s. So you did the thing in Japan. How many years were you doing that?
What was it? So ask you one more time. I feel like I caught a piece of it, but I was about to say something. Yeah,
all good. So like, girl, when you was in doing the thing in Japan, you went over to Japan a few times performing all that stuff too, right?
Yep. Yeah, and to record my debut album. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. So my man was in Japan getting busy. He put out the debut album, which was called
To This Union, the Sun Was Born.
Okay, To This Union, the Sun Was Born. Y'all need to check that. Go grab it. Listen, y'all always listen. People hit me up all the time. Yo, A6, this music on the radio was trash. Such and such. Yo, listen, there's plenty of music out there that's not garbage.
100%.
The garbage is being streamlined to you so that you just continue to just adapt to it. Nah, yo, this man right here has got some heat for you. So listen, check his music out. All right, he's got a whole catalog of good stuff for you, man. And this dude can rap. So listen, so he was out there in Japan doing this thing. He rocked out. Bam, he gets back to the States. And so around what time did you get back to the States and decide to go ahead and move forward from what you were doing with Nujabes?
Yeah, man, I would go out to Japan. Like I first went in 2000, then I went again in 2001. But every time, and I never stayed for like years at a time. It was like, excuse me, it was like I go out there for like a month. Record, perform, etc., come back. And every time I came home, I was just constantly working. So at the time I was going out there, I was already starting to work with Q&5. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yes, working with them, we were working on the EFAM record. And then when the after the first album came out in 2001 and made some waves or whatever, I realized that then following that, we put out the Q&5 put out the Extended Fam Happy Fuck You Songs record. That was
y'all had some dope stuff, man.
Yo, good looking, man. Yeah. So when we put that out, I was still kind of slept on by a lot of folks. Like Tone and Pac was getting a lot of the opportunities because of that record. While me and Session were a bit slept on. And it was cool. But what I did was I followed up with this mixtape in like 2003 called Substantial Evidence. And just really letting folks know, like, yo, I was putting them onto the Japan stuff I did with producers in Europe, rapping over like different mixtape joints. And then also showcasing the stuff I was doing with Q&5. So, Yeah, man. You know, just hustling,
Yeah.
bro.
But hey, man, yo, people be all right. Look, we know tone deaf is bananas. Listen,
100%.
we know tone deaf is bananas. That's
100%.
common fact. All right,
Right.
we know all that. But yo, let's not sleep on Stan because Stan has some bars. The joint you did over, I don't remember what that beat was called, but you came off. You was like, "Yo, Your Majesty may casualties and whack
Right.
MCs catch you off guard like niggas
Nigga
speaking
speaking
Japanese."
Japanese.
Yeah, yo, you came off with that. That was
Right.
crazy. And then there's
Right.
another joint
Appreciate
you did. It started off with tone deaf, and then I think you were third because Pack FM was second, I believe. And then you was like, "Yo, fuck a pale horse, beware the black stallion."
Oh, yeah.
The way you caught the beat, I thought you had the best verse, but that one dude that said military drill sergeant discipline to your team, I could turn a group of crack junkies into Marines. That was the hardest line.
Dog,
But
that was hard. Yeah.
yeah, I thought you had the best verse though, yo, because the
Thank
way
you,
you
man.
wrote the beat was sick. So
Appreciate
you know what I'm
it, bro.
saying? I can always like Tone Deaf has got this real quick style that's is dope as hell, but I don't always think the quick style is appropriate for every track. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which he can do both. Don't get it twisted.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's why I say I thought you had the best verse on that joint.
Man, listen, thank you, bro. Listen, hey, any moment you hear me shine and like, you know, I mean, it's one of those things that I'm a reflection of the company I keep. Like if you hear something dope from me, even if it's on a track with them and you felt like I had the best joint on in that particular moment, it's because I was around those dudes.
Right, them dudes
You know?
like, yo,
I
you're
knew
not
what
gonna
they
get
was
on the
coming
track
with.
with them dudes with some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
Bro.
it might cut your verse.
Bro, listen, Tone, man, I've seen that dude embarrass folks, man. And
I've heard it, dude.
Yeah, and
I've heard it.
And I've learned so much, like being in the studio with him. He mixed and mastered my new album and stuff. And so, you know, we're still in constant contact. And great dude, man, amazing artist, arguably one of the dopest to ever do it. You know.
Yeah. I had a list of dudes I went back in the day when I was really into it. I would have loved to have battled in my prime. Man. He was definitely on the list because it would have been a tough one, man. It was him, Idea, and it was I Am Many. Those three dudes.
Yeah.
Them three guys, like yo, because they was just when I listened to them, I'd be like, damn, they nice. I'm trying to get on that level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's what it is. Keeping the company definitely influences how you move, and as to life. Like yo, if you hanging out with certain dudes that are moving a certain way, it's gonna be better for you in the long run.
Yeah, help you sharpen your sword.
100% steel sharpen steel. So you rocked out with Q&5, and what albums did you put out on the Q&5?
Yeah, so I mentioned the EFAM album, Happy Fuck You songs, and then we did Sacrifice that came out in 2008. I put my solo album out with them. Around that time after that, I put out the Substantial versus Samurai Champloo mixtape while I was with Q&5. And then also Substantial Burns. Shout out to my man Burns who produced that. And and there was another mixtape I think I did called Wink or something like that. It was like this Valentine's Day joint. Yeah, man, they just did a lot of things with them, dude. You know, yeah, it was super dope.
Word. All right, so we finally get around. I guess 2008. You were still with Q&5 in 2008, or had you already branched off?
Yeah, that's when Sacrifice came out. My favorite things and all that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so I met you on the set of what were we at? University of Maryland, right?
No, I think it was Towson.
Was it Towson? Yeah, it probably was Towson.
Towson University is where we shot the video.
Yeah, Towson. Yeah, it was Towson. Yep. So I met Substantial, and we did the video. I was actually in the video too. So if y'all put in my favorite things, y'all will see me disrespecting Substantial by throwing the CD down.
You know what I'm saying? It's hating, son. It's hating.
Look, he was like, "Yo, A6, you want to be in the video?" I said, "I mean, yeah. What you need me to do?" He says, "Yo, I want you to just take my CD. I want you to throw it down." I'm like, "Yo, but the shit dope." He's like, "Yo, but that's not the point. I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to convey that it's hard for like an underground artist to get his music heard." I was like, "All right, so you'll see me." I think I was like 23 or something. Like I was young back in the day. So I threw the album down and walked away, and he was just sitting there like, "Yo, I actually really feel disrespected." Over there.
Yo, treat my album like a discus, son.
right. But so that album came out. It did make Sacrifice. Had a bunch of good cuts on it. House Party was my favorite personally.
Yeah,
I
thank
liked
you.
House Party was crazy. That I liked. My favorite things. There was a few other cuts too that the names of them escape my mind, but I do remember the beats and all that. But album was solid. I remember me and my boy were headed out DC one day, and I was like, let me pop the Substantial joint in. So we started off in Baltimore. We rode all the way up to DC and listened to the whole album. He was like, yo, this shit's solid. I was like,
Thank
who
you,
is this?
man.
I was like, yo, this that dude Substantial I was telling you about, man. Dude, nice.
Appreciate
So,
it, bro.
Absolute. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, check out Sacrifice. Personally, that album right there has some real smooth cuts on it, man. That's some joint you could just play with your lady, you know what I'm saying, chilling or whatever. You could just bang to it, man. Great album.
Yeah.
So after that, you
Thank
did Samurai Champloo, right?
Champ Blue, yeah, Samurai
Blue.
Champ Blue, Substantial versus Samurai Champ Blue. This is
Yeah.
basically a mixtape where I took like certain cuts, certain instrumentals from that TV show. Some were produced by Nujabes, others produced by Fat John, Suchi, and Forces of Nature, and and just rapped over some of those beats and kind of, and then took the intro from Samurai Champloo, the song Battle Cry with the homie Shingo too, and then added verses to that, but kept the chorus, you know what I mean? So it was a cool project, man. Just something to kind of merge the crowds, merge the audience and stuff, the people who knew me from the Nujabes work, something to kind of bring them to where I was currently in my career,
Yeah, that's a good bridge right there. We actually did a track together too. It was called Aight.
Yeah.
I actually still have that in the archives.
I do
man.
too. I do
You
too.
You got it.
Yeah. So it's on my desktop right here, man. I have a collection of all the old collabs and stuff right here on the desktop.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I'm gonna have to put that out, man. If y'all want to hear that, I might have to put it out. And if you want to hear that, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat and in the live feed. Yes, we are live. I haven't been reading y'all comments because I've been interviewing my man, trying to give him the respect. Let me go to some of these comments though, Stan, if you don't mind, bro.
Sure.
Truth is here. What's good? What up? Tony, if you still in, what's good, champ? What's up with you? King me, what up? What's good? Staying stoic is in the house. What up? Bishop Macbone, what it is? Hello, friends. What's up, Frog Dog? My man Bad Wolf is still in the cut chilling. What up? Alfonso, what's up, man? What's going on? Enlightened and intelligent people are always tested. That is facts. The universe has a way of throwing tests at you, and they'll throw something at you it knows you can handle, man. So it'll definitely do that. So, universal law, you have to be able to move on to the next level. RC Records, welcome. That's a nice. What kind of engine is that you got right there, man? That looks like a 4G63 engine, an Evo engine. I can't tell. Or maybe it might be a K20. Hey, fellas, your channel popped up in my feed, and I really dig what you say and the energy you put off. Thank you, man. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Welcome home. Fred Mitchell, what's good? Thanks for the donation, RC Records. I did see what you typed there, but I can't cover that right now because that's not the topic for tonight. So you had to jump on next week and we could talk about that. I still got an SP303 cause that sound. Yeah, because that sound, he says, word. That's what it is. Hello, better late than never. What up, Jared? What's good? 222. All right, cool. I only got 1222 so far. So we're gonna need more votes on that. So 222, if you want to hear that joint, I'll drop that with Substantial on the upload. Autonomous 7. What up? What's good? All right, so let's get back on track. We covered all the comments. All right, so you put out the joint Champloo, Samurai versus Champloo, and
Substantial versus Samurai Champloo. Yeah.
Sorry about that, man.
Nah, you good, bro.
I just remember Champloo because I remember seeing it on the paper, but yeah. Okay, so you put that joint out. Now at one point there was a lot in between I probably have missed. You did a Ford commercial, correct?
Yeah. I did this collaboration with Ford when they were doing this thing called Ford Music, where they were working with certain artists to promote different automobiles that they were putting out. And so Yeah, I think this was like 2016, maybe
I remember.
2015.
That's back when
Yeah,
I was on Facebook. I was like, "Yo, Stan making moves, man. He got a Ford commercial, man." I was glad, bro, because
yeah.
you
Thank
was
you,
like the
man.
beacon of light for all of us underground MCs that had to go to work. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They
yeah. Thank you,
couldn't
man.
take hella time off of work to go do something else. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man.
But
Thank you.
yes,
Appreciate it.
indeed. So okay, before you put that out though, what was some of the things you were working on or that you had released?
Yeah, so before the Ford commercial happened, I had yeah, Q and 5, and I like we were still cool. Like I was still affiliated with Q and 5, but I was no longer on the label per se. So at that time I was working with Hypnot Records, and prior to that I did a release. I wasn't signed to Mello, but I had signed I signed an album, like just a one album deal with them.
Carmelo Anthony?
No. Mellow Music Group.
Oh, okay.
Mellow Music Group, which
I
is
was like,
like
I didn't even know he had a label.
nah, so Mellow Music Group is an indie
Okay.
label. Shout out to Mike, who owns the label, and yeah, they're known. They help get the world familiar with artists like Odyssey. What's my man name from Detroit? Apollo. I forget his full joint, but yeah, man, like those folks, the Diamond District, et cetera, et cetera. So they, at the time I got with them, I think they were they were amongst the top 15 independent record labels in the world, according to like Billboard and stuff like that. So they were doing real numbers, and Odyssey had executive produced my third album after Sacrifice. And so, yeah, he helped me link with them. But by the time we got to the fourth thing, I just did the one project with them, and then I was planning to do my next release myself because I felt like my fan base was big enough where, I mean, I knew how to get to my audience whether I had a label or not. Right. Labels are really just it's a resource, right? Yeah. Like they have an audience that they built over a certain period of time, and then they got capital, so they can help to fund the project. But by this time, crowdfunding was legal. I had already crowdfunded like 2 or 3 projects by then. So I knew how to get to the money, you know what I mean? So I could basically fund my releases if I needed to do it myself. So I was on the verge of doing that right when the homie Joe from the Other Guys reached out, because he was doing a lot of business with Hypnot Records that was formerly owned by Kevin Nottingham before Joe from the Other Guys ended up buying the label. And so I got with them. They helped me. This was so around that time, to answer your question, I was working on The Past Is Always Present in the Future. And so we started doing these EPs to lead up to that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. And that was, you said that, what year was that?
Yeah. So like that process with them started like about 2015, I believe. Okay. And and before that, like when I was with Mello, I think that was when I first caught the ear of Chuck D. Like he had he has a radio station, and was playing some of my music. But leading, like after that Ford joint, like when I dropped like the first single of my fourth album, that was when Chuck was like really was really, really like, whenever he spoke about my stuff, man, was really speaking life into the music I was making. And that cosign was amazing. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's what it is. So that gave you like a lot of wind and buzz in order for you to move forward. Then that's
it's one of those things. Like I think more than anything, when I got the quote from him, when he basically called me one of the great MCs of our time, like that was a huge thing for, like, this dude's a rock and roll Hall of Famer, son. Word. Legendary hip hop artist, socially conscious hip hop artist too. Yeah. You know what I mean? So to get that type of cosign, but it's one of those things where, like, he would say it, and then people didn't always be like, it's kind of like, if you know, you know. Yeah. But he would say it in the way like, oh, y'all don't know? All right. He would start linking to my stuff and this, that, and the third. Man. So, it was not forcing, but like it was making it clear. Like he wasn't just throwing my name out there. He was like, nah.
He meant that. Yeah.
Yeah, he meant that shit. And I was like, yo, man, thank you. And to this day, man, he still, whether I'm in the room or not. Like that dude, that brother, man, bigs me up a lot. And
That's good, man.
Yeah, so shout out to Chuck D, man.
Shout out to Chuck D. Yes, indeed, man. I love to hear it, dude. Like you put in that hard work, man, and the recognition. It ain't nothing like getting that cosign, yo. Like you know what I mean? You put in all that time because like people don't see. People that see when you're on the stage and you tearing people head off, or you just ripping the microphone, they're like, God damn, he nice as hell. Or they hear a track or something like that and be like, yo, this dude can rap and he got some good music. But what they don't hear is, you know, when you first start off and you rapping and nobody can shut that shit up. We trying to sleep. Turn that music down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Take your ass somewhere with that music. They don't,
Right.
you know, people not trying to support you and stuff like that, man. These are things that really was a thorn for me, man, because you know, here in Baltimore, it was like dog eat dog, yo. Like, yo, everybody's rapping, everybody's boy rap. F you, my boy nice. My boy over here nice. He nicer than you. Everybody's boy is nicer than somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to hear no local artists. Yo, y'all need to get a job. Y'all ain't never gonna go nowhere. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You know, your family not even supporting you. I mean, luckily I had a few of my family, immediate family members that did. But other ones, you know what I'm saying? I ain't buying it. I ain't giving you no money for no tickets. I ain't got no money. That's expensive. $10. That's expensive. Hey, it was $10, man, you know, but these are things that young hip hop artists deal with, you know, when they're first starting off, you know, and these can even make or break you, man. They can get you on a point where you just feel like it's hopeless and you just say, man, let me go ahead and get this job and just, you know, let me go become an electrician or something like that. Or you can really just stay in it and say, yo, this is what I really believe in and this is what I really want. And just like somebody said earlier, man, the universe is going to test you, man. So Stan, I'm going to have to ask you, bro. What was your drive like, yo, when you were going through all these things, you know, and dealing with all these setbacks, man? What really kept you grounded to make you say, man, I'm gonna just keep moving forward with the music? Because you said you dropped out of school for it, so I mean, you really had to be engaged to do something like, because that was a huge life decision. It panned out for you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, I think for me, like. For a lot of artists, I think the challenge a lot of times is it's not an issue of whether or not you love it, right? Because you love it, that's why you got into it a lot of times. The issue is a lot of times, how can I turn this thing that I love, this thing that I'm passionate about, into money, right? Like, how can I turn this into something that is a sustainable career path for me? And that's hard, yo. That's hard for a lot of people to figure out. I think what was different for me was, you know, because they say like what makes someone a professional is the moment they finally are compensated for the thing that they're doing. Like when you were doing it before and you weren't getting any money, you were an amateur. The moment you got paid, now you're a professional. So for me, by that simple description, right, or definition, I literally have been a professional artist in terms of like creating visual art since second grade, fam. I figured out at a very young age that the work I was creating had value simply because I'd make a thing for myself and then someone would see it and be like, yo, can you make something like that for me? And I think maybe once or twice I did it for someone for nothing. And then something clicked, like, yo, I need money.
I'm nice with this.
Clearly you want this thing, like, yo. And it was like, give me $1, right? Like, and they would do that. So by the time I was in like third grade, fam, like I would have like in my little dresser in my room, I have like a stack of like $50 to $80. You know what I mean? That my mom ain't give me. Like, I figured this out young. I had homies out here like selling, you know, selling some things. Right. And I figured out my own hustle, so I didn't have to go that route to get to money. And then it just kind of shifted over the years. Anything I got good at that like people wanted, I knew how to market it in a way where I could get people to spend money on it. So when I started making music, that was just another thing to figure out. And before I'd even got a record deal, like how many people back in the day, they would make their demo and then they ship it to whatever company trying to get on or put it in somebody's hands. Yo, listen, I made my demo. I did some of that, but then I would let somebody hear it and they'd be like, man, that's tight, man. I wish I could get a copy of that, man. Like, it's already dope. And I'm like, Okay, I got a job at Sam Goody. Started getting discounted blank cassettes. I knew how to draw, so I made my own covers. Would dub up my demo instead of just giving it out and shipping it to people. I just started selling the shit. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, and on top of that, I knew how to DJ back then. So I was selling mixtapes too. I was making Best of Tribe, Best of Wu-Tang. I was making slow jam mixtapes because older people would like those and they had more money than my broke ass friends.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I figured that out early. So once I knew how to do that, and I think that's an important, like financial literacy, right? And understanding that the stuff you're creating has value. You know, that's an important thing, and learning how to speak about yourself in a way to kind of meet people where they are, but bring them into your world and help them understand the value that this thing you're making has, and make them want to, like, not just buy the music or back the music. Like you're helping people buy into what you represent. And what I've learned, I think, you know, I'm not saying I'm better than you. Look, the song goes, I ain't better than you. I just think different, right? Like that's a joint I made. And it's not that I believe I'm quote unquote better than a whole bunch of artists. I think I'm just a person who listens to what the audience says they say they want a thing. And I realized that a lot of times the thing they're complaining about in hip hop, and they say they want more of this other stuff. I'm like, bro, I've been making that for over 20 years.
Yo,
so
say it one more time for the people in the back, because they not listening.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, you say you tired of rappers talking about this. Like I feel like Suge Knight right now. If you don't want rappers, producers dancing in your video,
all in the video,
all in your video. Like, yo, if you don't want artists. You don't want to listen to artists who are promoting certain things. Yeah. Right? You don't like when they talk about certain things. You want folks to talk about more real or authentic experiences. What it's like to be what it's like to be a black man in this world, not just this country, but in this world, trying to raise kids, trying to be a good husband, trying to be a better man. All of that. You say that's the type of music you want to hear? Well, fam, I've been making that for over 20 years.
That's what I'm saying.
And I ain't saying like, yo, like, you know, I'm making that conscious shit, and then you hear it and it's like, oh, it's all right. Like, fam, some of the most respectable people in this industry, like, come to me to help make their stuff better or speak highly of what I do. Right? Like, all of the stuff you say you're looking for, it's here. It's been here. And I ain't the only one making it.
Exactly.
So I think when I realized that, like, yo, it's enough people saying that it's supply and demand, just like drugs or anything else. Mm-hmm. So when I realized that there's a demand for it, I just got to figure out where that audience is. Yeah. And so all my indie artists watching right now, if you gotta find where the audience is that says that they want the type of stuff that you already make, even though they've never heard of you. And now you got to start to align yourself with that audience, and more importantly, with the other artists that they say fit into that particular lane, because there's artists are out here who already do what it is you think you do that is so different. Right? There's somebody out here doing it already. Mm-hmm. So aligning yourself with those artists a lot of times, and that don't even mean that you got to do a song with them per se. That can come down the road. What it means that when you're marketing your stuff, saying things like, for fans of people like this, people humble yourself enough to be like, this thing already exists and I'm just an extension of that. If you like that, that's what I do. And so, and 9 times out of 10, for a person who's never heard me, that's how I bring them in. Like, well, yo, you like this artist? It's like, yeah, I've been compared to them a bunch of times, right? Mm-hmm. You know, think of me, for a while I was your poor man's Common, right? Yeah.
Common?
I'm saying early stuff, like my early stuff. Not, I wouldn't say we're that similar
I can
anymore.
see somebody saying that doesn't listen to
Yes,
hip hop like that. Like if you
but
got somebody that's like, yo, I
yes.
listen to a little. I don't have much experience with rap. I
Hmm.
would like to learn. I would like to listen to something. You know what I'm saying? I can see him say, yo, he sounds like Common. To
Now,
me, I'm
Pete,
like, yo, these are two different MCs. You know what I'm saying?
100%, right?
Yeah.
Common was a big influence on me early in my career.
Same here.
So,
Yeah.
so it's easy to hear that.
Yeah.
But again, that's for the person. Because keep in mind, most people who listen to music are what we call passive listeners.
Yeah.
So I could throw some other names out there who I would argue are more in the same lane of me, but I know enough about music to know that you don't know who the hell that is. So there's no point of me mentioning that name because you won't know.
Yeah,
so what I do is I find an easy entry point for them. Because like if they like Common, it doesn't mean we have to sound exactly the same. Common's a dude who's socially conscious,
Yep.
right? So cares about community, cares about family, has like a soulful sound, incorporates jazz, sometimes has vocalists on it, has live instrumentation. These are all elements that I work with. Now in terms, but I would argue, I'm not saying I'm a better rapper, but I believe I am a more technical rapper than he is, right? You know, and so that's where like the differences start. Like in terms of what you're gonna hear me do, like, you know, full sentence rhyme schemes, right? Like, you know, a lot of the punchline stuff I did, I learned from him. He was one of the best early in his career. So yeah, you know. But anyway, man, so learning that is, I think for every artist, you got to learn how to market yourself. Because you're gonna constantly bump into people who don't offer you opportunities because they don't know how to market you. And if you know how to do it yourself, you ain't got to wait around for them. You feel me?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Hey, facts on that one, man. 100%. Yes, sir, man. That's some fire right there, dude. And what you said about the whole, you know, another. If you like this artist, you may also like, because that's how I found MF Doom and a lot of dudes he collabed with, man. Like I think I was on hip hop. I think it was called Hip Hop Site back in the day. And then I just got out of high school. And I was like, all right, I want to hear some new music from dudes that are nice that I don't know about, but would still do songs with these other dudes that I do like to listen to. And I was listening, and when I got out of high school, I was on old Cannabis freestyles, old Eminem freestyles, Chino XL verses and stuff like that. You know, all of that kind of stuff. You know, Rhyme Fest, and then I started looking for like those type of artists. So I was like, all right, let me get on there and see what else, you know, I can get into. That's when I stumbled upon MF Doom. You know what I'm saying? So then MF Doom opened the door for like a whole lot of other artists that were underground that, you know, they didn't rhyme like him, but he may have did a song with him, or they might have just been in the same kind of category, which took me to Peanut Butter Wolf, you know what I'm saying? The DJ, and he had a mixtape with a bunch of MCs on it. Then that got me to what's his name? Ah man, what is his name? Not Black Milk, the other dude. Other dude from Detroit. You know who I'm talking about.
Wajid? What's it?
Nah. He did a couple of songs with Stone's Throw Records. I think he did an album with Stone's Throw Records. Guilty Simpson.
Guilty Simpson. Okay.
Yeah,
because you said Black Milk, I was thinking production first
Guilty
before
Simpson
MC.
is a crazy name, yo.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's Guilty Simpson. But yeah, anyway, but yeah, so I heard about it. Then I heard him do the mixtape, and that's how it branches off. You know what I'm saying? So you know, that's 100%. That's 100% facts right there, man. So listen, Stan, you just made a great point. You say people say, "Oh man, I want to hear people. I want to hear people rapping about WAP. I don't want to hear girls rapping about, you know, shaking my ass. I don't want to hear about my booty hole brown. I want to hear some good music." And there's plenty of good music out there. People just don't buy it. Well, I'm not gonna say don't buy it, but don't look for it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been out there.
Yeah.
I have one more question. What do you say the main issue is with hip hop today? What is the problem? How do we go from, you know what I'm saying, having a big pun, putting music out on the radio, to the crap we got now? What happened, man?
Yeah, I mean, so I think, and so this is I just guess let's clarify, right? Like, let's start with, so you ask about hip hop, and I argue a lot of times when we're talking about rap music, we use hip hop, when hip hop is, it's everything. It's not just the MCing, it's the DJing, it's graph art, it's was the graph art, DJing, we got beatboxers, we got graffiti. You know what I'm saying?
MC,
like, yeah,
DJing,
B-boys. So the culture as a whole, the culture's moving forward, fam. Like, outside of the rapping, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a part of multiple organizations that send us abroad to work with like folks who are participating in the culture in other countries. And I see people like, yo, I was just kicking it with B-boys from Chile, B-boys and B-girls from like Chile, Romania, Ireland, like all of these different places. So the culture, in terms of people holding down the elements, is, it's fine. It's moving forward. Now with rap is like any other art form. It changes over time. It morphs into different things. It evolves, right? And then it's possible for things to devolve as well. Yeah. And so I feel like if you're a person nowadays that's still looking to mainstream to give you the like what is the standard nowadays, and you're a person that grew up listening to mainstream rap from a different era, of course you're disappointed. Right. But the fact of the matter is, some of those same artists you love from back in the day, they still put music out. And the thing is, now what you got to do, and this is the problem, because you're a person who's used to consuming music a certain way. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, the radio gave you exactly what you were expecting to hear, or something that was in that vein. Now the radio has evolved into something else, and is the sound that is mainstream now is not what you grew up on. So now we sound like our parents, right? Complaining about this, that, and the third.
Yo, that's facts, yo.
But so now what I got to remind you is that, and I got to tell people this all the time, all of the, almost, not all, almost every artist that you loved from that period that you claim to love so much, they still put out music. Yep. Now the question is, where is that music being played? And then more importantly, if you're still relying on major outlets, it's just like people who only rely on media from major platforms to get their news, right? If you're still consuming your news that way, of course you think everything is like this, right? Yeah. But if you're here right now, that means you know that there are other places to get information. The same thing applies to music, fam. So if you're like, oh, everything's trash nowadays, blah, 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 that lets me know, oh, you're paying attention to what major outlets are pushing. You don't really care to dig a bit further and find the dope shit. Cause I'll be frank with you, fam. There's so much dope shit out here. And I don't mean like, like the shit's all right. Like it's just better than that shit I don't like. Right. So there's a lot of new stuff that I love, a lot of new artists that I love, and they may not be the biggest names. And I know that can be disheartening for folks because it makes it difficult to have that water cooler conversation. Yeah. I can't walk up to most water coolers and spark a conversation about Saba with most people, right? Saba's an amazing artist, but unfortunately not everybody knows about Saba, right? Or talk about Sampa the Great, or talk about Little Sims, right? Or talk about, Tone Deaf, you know what I mean? Or whoever. But the fact of the matter is they still put music out. They are here. So my challenge to everyone is just like how you go to alternative places to get your news, you can do the same thing for your music. You can do the same thing for your music. And the moment you do that, you'll realize that the culture is not as bad off, or the music is not as bad off as you believe it to be. You're just going to the wrong place to get it. Amen. And then here's the thing. The moment you find out about these artists, you don't have to rely on outlets to tell you about their stuff no more. You can literally follow most of them, join their mailing list. You ain't even got to spend any money initially to get on board with what they're doing. But if you believe in it and you feel like this is the direction the music needs to be going in, then yo, you need to be backing that. And if you ain't backing it, fam, if you ain't putting money behind it, then you're not making it a viable path for other people who are making that type of music. And that's important for people to remember. You can't be out here complaining about the bullshit, and then when you find good shit, you don't spend any money on it to back it, and then wonder why more people aren't playing that, or why that isn't getting more exposure, because it's not making corporations, hell, barely individuals, enough money to live. Simple as that. Simple as that.
It's not complex. It's not a complex problem. people, yo, they literally overcomplicate a whole lot of shit, and they got all these conspiracy theories about why shit is bad. And it's just like, fam, it ain't even, you giving some of these quote unquote bad people too much credit. You giving them too much credit, and you ain't looking in the mirror enough. You got every tool you need to make the things you want to make like more visible. But the thing is, you're more than likely to post about shit you hate than you are the thing you love. How crazy is that? Yeah.
Like, yo, that's what people give their energy to. And the funny thing is, and part of that is because when I talk about the bullshit, it gets more attention.
Yo, and that's the crazy part, bro. Like, yo, the nonsense, you know what I'm saying, it makes it viral, you know what I mean? But when it's something that's actually good, it goes nowhere. You might get a few people commenting on it.
Yeah.
And that's you know, people love bullshit. Let's be honest.
Yeah. It's entertaining. It's yo, listen. The internet deals with extremes, right? Like, if anything that is like triggering one way or the other, right? Anything that creates extreme emotion, whether it's extreme anger, hate, and then the polar opposite, extreme joy, laughter. But it's extremes. That's where the attention goes. I've been posting about this tour I'm doing right now, right? Like, I just performed in Falls Church last night. I'm in North Carolina, I think day after tomorrow. Then I'm in NY a couple days after that. I've been posting about this tour, next to no traffic on like a lot of these posts. Of course, you know, when I boost it, I spend a little money to get some more traffic. Right. I've been telling folks, right? Every other day I'm hit up, when you coming to this city? When you coming to this city? Meanwhile, I'm posting about me coming to people's cities and they don't even know. Yo, a couple of weeks ago, someone bust out the window of my car, stole the airbag out of my car, right? Couldn't even take my daughter to ballet that day because we had to deal with the bullshit. Fam, that one post got more traffic than almost anything I've posted in the last month and a half.
Yo, I can't stand that shit, bro. And it's it's partially the algorithm too, Stan. It ain't even just that, bro, because again, you post something positive, you know what I'm saying? The algorithm just will shut it completely down. Look, you got a YouTube channel and you do pretty much like a podcast where you talk about stuff. By the way, go subscribe to YouTube's Substantial's YouTube channel. He talks about some good stuff on his channel, all right? But you are having the same issue I'm having. We basically are being shadow banned. You know what I'm saying? The video, I might have a few videos that might hit that algorithm and might catch a little bit of the traffic, but for the most part, the only people that are really watching the videos is people that are already subbed. I might every once in a while have somebody from the outside, or if somebody features one of my videos, you know what I'm saying, they might put the link and they might come in through there. But for the most part, the algorithm is not helping us. And this is part of what I'm talking about when I say, like, or what you're talking about too, when you say the machine is geared a certain way so that certain things be put in people's face that are too lazy to look for them. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And then it's not like, and then the other part is, even when it pops up in their face, they don't engage with it. And that's what kills people like you and me all the time. I mean, everybody who watching right now, how many of y'all watching right now and have been watching for like 20 minutes and still haven't hit the like button? Right? How many people, hey, and listen, I teach social media marketing.
That's a good
marketing,
question.
Right? I've worked with YouTube directly for over a year. So I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this right now, you support A6. Yo, we ain't even talking about me right now. If you rock with A6, you've been watching this whole time and you ain't hit the like button yet, then yo, the same algorithm you're complaining about, you are becoming part of the problems unconsciously. You're not doing it on purpose, but you think just being here and watching is enough. But yo, taking that extra step, liking, taking that extra step, leaving a comment, right? Commenting in a way that pushes the conversation, at least in the chat, forward, right? All of these different things, commenting on the video after the fact. All of this helps A6 and other people that you like. And again, these things don't cost anything, but it could potentially help feed the algorithm to let them know what is the type of content you're going to engage with. But how many you see some random funny shit that ain't got a whole lot to do with nothing other than the fact it was a good laugh, and that ain't nothing wrong with bringing people joy. But yo, you share that. They ain't even telling you like, subscribe, or share in that video, and you sharing the hell out of it, liking the hell out of it, commenting like hell on it. Because and then enough people do that, they think that's all you want to see. And so they just keep putting more of that and more of that in front of you. Like a follow/subscribe only means so much nowadays, because a site like TikTok, a platform like TikTok, like you don't even see most of the content that people like from the people you follow. It's just putting in whatever they think is the wave at the time and what they want to direct your attention to. You know?
Yeah, that's, and the way it's geared, man, is it almost makes you wonder if it, well, I'm not even gonna say makes you wonder. I 100% am sure that it's basically geared to keep you engaged, to keep you wasting a lot of your time. You know what I'm saying? Social media apps, they're basically geared to keep you doing like this. You know what I'm saying? Scrolling up, keep your time diverted on what you have in front of you, so that you don't actually look up and say, yo, this shit don't make no sense. Why is this like this? You know, you're not thinking about that because you're doing like that. You know what I mean? So 100%, I do agree 1,000% with what you're saying. And, you know, is there a ulterior motive? Absolutely, I believe. I'd absolutely say there's an ulterior motive as to why that's particular circumstance or situation is the way it is. But, you know, we can get into that. So, question, I want you to go ahead and plug your YouTube, bro, because I want people, listen, I want y'all to go over and subscribe to Substantial, tongue twister. Go sub to Substantial, all right? Go over to his channel and subscribe to him. Drop that for me.
Yeah, man. Substantial Music here on YouTube. Come over to the channel, music videos, other music content. I go live every Friday around noon. So, you know what I mean? Spend your lunchtime with me if you're on the West Coast, you know what I'm saying? Little morning, help you with your morning commute maybe. But yeah, man, it's a great, shout out to I call them sub porters. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the homies who subscribe to the channel. We got a really, really great community over there, man. People super supportive. And not just of what I'm doing, but of the other folks who come through in the space and of each other. So yeah, man, it's just it's a blessing, yo. Like, you know, trying to not just build a fan base, but build a community and cultivate it in a way that, like, that energy that I believe we need to see more of in the world. Like, when you come over into my space, you see it in action. You know what I mean? So
I'm trying to get on that channel too, man. I would like to get on there, man, so we can chop it up on yours as well, man.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. You know, you ever free around noon on a Friday, bro? We can make it happen.
I'll make it happen, bro. I'll get over there. We actually got to chop it up, man. 100%, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, indeed, man. So listen, man, if anybody has any questions, now's the time to drop them. If you got any question for Stan or me, you can do so now. And
yes, I see a couple joints. There's one from Lawrence Williams.
Let me go back up. Yeah, shoot, let me go back up. Supplanter says creative versus interpretive artistry, both are valid art forms. Agreed. My question as an engineer, where do you think the underground indie conscious platforms are headed? As art form as a whole has become a cookie cutter process. We kind of touched on that, but you can jump into that real quick.
Yeah. I think I feel like the biggest challenge with a lot of indie platforms is just like a lot of indie artists. Like the platforms are looking for validation in some way, shape, or form, and sometimes that validation comes in the form of money, right? So a lot of times, you know, part of like an organization or like a platform's mission is to service their community in a particular way. But when they get to a point where it's becoming harder to be a sustainable, platform, like to sustain what they're currently doing, then they try to pivot in a way where they can get the funding they need to move forward. And so I guess a platform that fits exactly what I'm talking about now is Bandcamp, right? Like we see what's happening with Bandcamp and the struggles they're having and how they've been bought and sold twice in a year. You know what I mean? And so, and that's scary for a lot of people to see if Bandcamp has been a viable source of income for you. I know for me, I make a lot of money through Bandcamp. And so, yeah, man, I think it's really challenging. As far as the second part of what you're saying, art, the art form as a whole has become a cookie cutter process. Well, I mean, that's partly because people largely rely on tastemakers to put them onto music.
Yep.
So if you rely on tastemakers to put you on for music, I mean, they're called tastemakers. So they're building a playlist that is built around a particular taste. You like a certain sound. That's why you more than likely showed up there to begin with. They're going to continue to present you things that are variations of that sound. So if you're living in that bubble, of course, it can feel very cookie cutter. I'm not saying you are or aren't, but I'm just saying for a lot of people, that's what it is. And so if you're a person who listens to like multiple genres, I think that helps sometimes to break up a lot of that. I mean, all of it's going to feel formulaic, but you got to remember too, like, I mean, you only got 12 notes to work with in terms of making music, fam. You know what I mean? So the likelihood that you're going to feel like some of the stuff gets repetitive over time, it's a natural thing, and everybody's borrowing from someone. And then the other challenge is if you make something that's super different and it currently isn't a platform or a playlist that markets that particular sound, that's a challenge in itself. Yes. You know what I mean? Because now you're the first to break through the glass, and the first through the glass gets the bloodiest. Yeah. So they stepping over your ass while you bleeding out. You know what I mean? But then all these other people, like, you know, they get inspired by you, and then they come in waves doing the exact thing that, like, when you did it and it was original, nobody gave a shit. And now here come all these other folks, and now the sound is like the norm. You know what I mean? So, you know, yo, it's so, like, I hear what you're saying, but I think it's important to acknowledge the fact that this is how it's always been. Yeah. This isn't people think it's a new thing. It's really not. Like, how it's fed to us is a bit new, but the overall concept is still very much the same. It's the music business, is how it works, you know?
True indeed. True indeed. Yes, man. Yes, man. Hey, I couldn't have said it any more clear for you guys. All right. So, man, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up for the night. If we ain't got no more questions, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor, Stan. That's on you, champ.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. First, thanks for having me, man. Thank you, man. It's definitely been dope catching up over the last couple weeks. Yeah, I mean, everybody, I got an album out right now called Adultish. The way I describe adultish, not just the album, but what the word in general is, you know, it's for grown-ups that got more growing to do. And that ain't on some, and when I say that, it ain't just on some funny, like, you know, we ain't fully mature. It's more so the mindset of that get off this I'm grown thing, right? Like my homie used to say, I don't like being called grown because that implies that I'm finished growing. You know what I mean? So this album is about that growth mindset, being in a particular place, especially people coming from a certain place in the world. Like, I came from an environment where I didn't believe I was going to live to be an old man. So what happens in hip hop when you're a person that didn't see past a certain age and you're blessed enough to get to where we currently are, and become old men, right? Old women. So yeah, man, the album is a celebration of growth, you know, showing what the culture can look like when we grow with the music, and we're willing to kind of be open to talk about these things that don't always get talked about or celebrated in hip hop music, and rap music in particular.
100%, man. You can look at some of the comments, man. Stephanie Hillard says Substantial is one of those rare artists that truly does get better with time. This album is one of his finest works to date. Make it a treasured part of your own personal collection and thank me now. Favorite track, Lost Touch featuring Umaya Hiroto, Javier Starks, and Shinj O2. Yeah, man, it's a few comments on here. You know, the people are backing it up. I'm gonna have to get this myself, man. Can I pick something like this up? I'm old school, dude. I'm gonna probably go grab the CD.
Yeah.
I
The
might just
it's available
download
on
the
CD.
digital version though. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's available on CD. This site that you're on right now is he said let's get a sample of the beats. The Ascendant Ancient.
A sample of the beats. Can I play it?
Yeah, you should be able to play it from there, as long as you
All
got the audio set up.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see.
Yeah,
which
the
one you want
player
me to
was
play,
up
man?
I mean, you could play track 1. You know what I mean? That's Reed Richards.
All right, let's go. We ready to play it now?
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You have this song selection. You deal with scientists. You know, Jada Kiss is a scientist. You
That's
know,
Chuck D right there.
They're scientists, man. They're craftsmen. Substantial. They're scientists, man.
Clap for me. Nation, this is fantastic. Can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me touch and get loose so I black on it. Triple R to y'all rap read. Stretch money instead of truth, bro. I mean business. Enough flow to fill a ravine. You should bring pictures. When the beat got that swing, you gon' need pictures. On the mound, throwing it down, stand delivers. All pro, I ain't a goddamn beginner. Pick savage show and let a man eat dinner. Too focused on A to see what plan B get us. Now we fade with some gray on the sides. Omni-man stand when that pen and paper can lie. They lied and said you was the truth, but now your status denied. This life forever die, waiting for the pain to subside. Ooh. Classic over trendy, bro, I'm still here. Holla at me in a decade if they still care. When you fall and bounce back, if they still cheer, then you're worthy to wield the mic like it's Millionaire. I'm still in here, still prepared to take what I earn. Y'all some Build-A-Bears and built the bear, the weight of the world. I've been the realest here, that's on my soulmate and my girls. Who you feel compared to me really ain't my concern. Is he dope? Ain't a debate, cause most will say he underrated. A couple takes a state that he a great or just the greatest. Some artists focus less on albums, just don't make a playlist. I choose the former, but I hope the latter choose my latest. Nation, this is fantastic. Can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose so I black on it. For the poppers, lockers, God bodies, rosters, hip hoppers, now for the imposters. Nah, bro, recognize I spit up when you spot one. Learn from a show stop. Mr. Stantastic, party of four, dope in audio form. What's a god to a goal? Bunch of beasts like Benny on the stage with the boys. You hope to have a good show, bro. I came to destroy the pit, giving out work like I came to employ. Joyce and Rock on the mic when I'm making a point. Sorcerer in the stew when I conjure up joints. Come and fetch this blessing that I came to anoint. For where we rock, new balance, but struggle with old prices. And high blood pressure be coming with low prices. For the virus, we've been dealing with long crisis. Transform from old dog to Osiris. Now we can't blame these joints like arthritis. While God guide us, peacemakers and born fighters. Got homies with more seeds to put fires. Trying to find peace while writing them papyrus. Denied equal rights and living wages. And couldn't see the gods that we are to hitting stages. Best kept secret like Bibles with hitting pages. Best source of raw hip hop and entertainment. My life's a hip hop quotable thing published yet. Slept on by the masses till I left a few with rubbernecks. Took a swing at rapping and I sent it to the upper deck. Only other language that I'm fluent in is cut the check. Clap for me.
Let's go, yo.
DJ, bring it back for me.
Thank you, brother.
Get loose, so I black on it. For the poppers, lockers, God bodies, rosters, hip hoppers, now for the imposters. Nah, bro, recognize I spit up when you spot one. Learn from a showstopper.
We get into the science of the fact. That's the beauty of it. And that the average person doesn't know that, and then you treat it like pop music, top 40, shaking to the lights, as I say. I don't think we could be in the same room talking about the same thing.
Yeah, man.
No crutch needed. Y'all better cool it.
All right, y'all want to hear any more? Y'all gonna have to go get the album, man. Listen, yo, he said high blood pressure be coming with low prices.
Yeah, man.
Yo, y'all need to go grab that, man. That I gotta go get it myself, man. I'm gonna go grab that joint.
Appreciate you.
See,
bro.
this what I'm talking about, man. You could just put a album like this on and play and just let it rock. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta skip tracks or none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've been listening to Substantial's music for a while now, man. And I'm telling you, even the joint Sacrifice, you can play it straight through. You don't have to skip any tracks. You know what I mean? This dude really puts his heart and soul into the music. You just heard it, man. Go support that man, bro. Stop complaining about the crap you hear on the radio and take it into your own hands.
Yeah,
Go
man.
buy that if you into that type of stuff for real.
Appreciate it, man.
No
Thank
doubt,
you, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Absolutely. Because you just put another good piece of music in my collection. I'm about to grab that.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for coming through, Stan, man. You
Thanks
guys
for
know what
having me,
time.
bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You guys know what time it is, what rhyme it is. I'm your gracious host, A6, the Foreign National Born Natural. Man, it's a great show. You know what I'm saying? I hope your vibrations got raised from that music, man, because I'm going to tell you, I actually am in a better mood now after hearing that for real. Good stuff, man. Go support the artists, man. Go support the guys that are actually out there trying to make music to better your consciousness, to better your life, putting good messages in the music, man. Just go out there and support. Because at the end of the day, everything, every bit of money you can put in his pocket is going to move him forward and give him more of a motivation to make music. You know what I'm saying? We got to support those who support us. And that's the way it is. All right. So with that said, we'll holler at y'all next week, man. I'm gonna try to get on Stan Shaw. It probably won't be this Friday. I got a plan for that. So I'm gonna try to see what I can do to get off like the following Friday so we can make something happen.
Sounds like a plan, man. You just let me know. I'm out of town anyway this Friday, so there's no show this upcoming Friday.
No doubt. All right, bet. We'll make that happen. All right, man. Hope y'all have a nice one, man. God willing, we'll be here next Sunday, and I'll be probably chopping this video up to put out segments for those who can't watch the whole hour for whatever reason. So we'll do it like that. All right, y'all take it easy. Peace.